So there was this article in Reuters that was just absolutely petrifying because they spoke about how AI has now made its way into the medical field and surgery in particular. And it's not fucking ready. It's not ready. People are getting injured. People are getting hurt. People have stroked out because of malfunctions from AI. And like, stop and think about it, guys. You've had experience with it. I've had experience with AI. Like, it hallucinates so fucking much. So the hallucination is just when it doesn't know an answer and it just makes some shit up. It happens all the fucking time. And now they think, like, oh yeah, let's put that in the fucking operating room? Are you kidding me? You got some surgeon who's gone to school for like a decade to get everything just right, and they're like a mega expert, and you're gonna have some fucking shitty computer program made by some asshole in Silicon Valley who's over-leveraged in his company and like making shit up and cutting corners, and now all of a sudden that's gonna operate on somebody? Like, get the fuck out of here. They discussed this on Breaking Points, and I wanted to go through some of their coverage here because they'll get into a bunch of the specifics. Here we go.
Let's find some common ground on hatred of our AI overlords here. Horrifying story from Reuters, and kudos to them for doing the digging into this. So they say, as AI enters the operating room, reports arise of botched surgeries and misidentified body parts. So the background here is that obviously you have AI now is the new hot way to grow your company, including medical device companies. So you have companies trying to push these devices into the market. You have an FDA that has been degraded drastically by Doge, and patients now basically being used as guinea pigs.
Now, by the way, let me just pause to point out here, yet again, this is another stark example of the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Whereas Doge absolutely fucking ripped through the government and eliminated so many crucial positions. That's why we always talk about Meals on Wheels. We always talk about the pediatric cancer research that they cut. We always talk about the nuclear safety officials who were fired. Some of the officials they fired were FDA officials whose jobs were to go through devices like this and make sure they were safe. They got rid of them. Well, now, guess what? These things are being rushed through using loopholes to approve them, and they're fucking killing people, right? Whereas under a Democrat, and there's many areas of criticisms I have for Democrats, right? But this is an area where they would 100% have a functional FDA that would actually check and not have approved these devices that are killing people. It's a huge difference between Democrats and Republicans.
Let me give you some of the specifics here from this article. Let's put this first piece up on the screen. They found that at least 10 people were injured between late 2021 and November 2025, according to reports. Most allegedly involved errors in which the TrueDiag navigation system misinformed surgeons about the location of their instruments while they were using them inside patients' heads during operations. Obviously, the company denies any wrongdoing. Put the next one up on the screen here. They say cerebrospinal fluid reportedly leaked from one patient's nose. In another reported case, a surgeon mistakenly punctured the base of a patient's skull. In two other cases, patients each allegedly suffered strokes after a major artery was accidentally injured.
I've heard people say I'm too much of a Luddite. I'm not enough of a Luddite, bro. I'm not. Are you kidding me with this? Like, everything in this country is now a scam. Everything's a scam. AI is a scam. Rushing this shit out is a scam. The destruction of the administrative state is a fucking scam. Crypto is a scam. OnlyFans is a scam. The gambling shit is a scam. Everything's a scam. Everything's a fucking scam. And now you're replacing... And by the way, this is what Dr. Oz is doing for Medicaid for the whole country. Because they massively cut Medicaid. 18 million people got kicked off Medicaid. Now they're saying, oh, I know like over 300 rural hospitals are going to close. But now AI is going to take their place. So an AI doctor will diagnose you. The same AI that's making people's spinal fluid leak through their nose and giving them strokes, that same AI, I think I'll pass.
But the next one up on the screen, the FDA has received reports involving dozens of other AI-enhanced devices, including a heart monitor said to have overlooked abnormal heartbeats and an ultrasound device that allegedly misidentified fetal body parts.
Oh my God.
In one of the examples that they identified here, first of all, the doctor had a consulting contract with the company that makes this device. So you inherently have questions about a conflict of interest in the doctor choosing to use this technology to start with. What they talk about here is the patient was being treated for chronic sinusitis. The procedure involves, it's a relatively non-invasive procedure, should be sort of cut and dry, relatively straightforward. They inflate a balloon inside your sinus cavity to create additional space. But the allegation is that this technology, because it did not properly inform the surgeon where their medical instruments were, that they accidentally nicked an artery that goes to the brain. this caused a stroke. And there were a couple strokes that they identified because that they're attributing to this technology. Again, the company denies that it is ultimately their fault. But, to me, Sagar, the bigger story is we have put E5 up on the screen. We had this Doge assault on the FDA. I remember talking about this at the time, about 15 of the 40 AI scientists in the special unit that had been spun up in the FDA to evaluate exactly these types of devices were laid off or opted to go. Another unit that crafted policy on devices using AI, the Digital Health Center of Excellence, lost about a third of its staff, around 30. So they are overwhelmed. And what the device makers try to do in order to avoid like a lengthy evaluation process is they'll say, oh, this is just like this other device that's already on the market. We've just updated it. But the update may be completely changing the way the device works and implementing AI, whereas the device previously did not have that.
So in other words, they're lying. They're just lying about like, oh yeah, no, this is the device that we've used. We just upgraded it. And it's like a totally different device and it's AI and the other device is totally different and not AI. This is what happens when you let the private market, the free market run wild, when you let the capitalists run wild. All they care about is profit. All they care about is rushing their shit onto the market. And as a direct result of that, safety is not even a consideration. And it's give me the money. And the government's been fucking destroyed 1,000 ways to Sunday because of the right wingers. And here we are. People are dying from motherfucking routine surgeries because of AI. Which, by the way, if anything, this is evidence to me of the further like over-promising and under-delivering of the AI revolution, which there is no easy way out of this, right? If they're right about the promising about what AI can do, then everybody loses their jobs to AI, which sucks and is horrible and is like ruin society, right? But it also sucks if they lied about it because then we're going to have a Great Depression as soon as that bubble bursts. And so it looks like we're leaning towards Great Depression when the bubble bursts, but they seem to be over-promising and under-delivering when it comes to AI. And this shit is getting rushed out to market and now people are dying.
And so a lot of these devices are sort of getting approved with relatively minimal scrutiny, and all of this is being done at an FDA that's completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's not only regulatory, it is really just like the runaway nature of the way that these people are rolling stuff out. And you pointed out these concrete ones, but just at a very basic level, remember, the promise here was that they were going to cure cancer. That was the promise. Mm-hmm. And by the way, if anyone's watching The Pit, there's a good plot line currently of a doctor who's pushing generative AI, which immediately runs into problems in the actual ER. I thought it was a good artistic representation of some of the way that this is currently already happening in medicine. Let's put E6 up here on the screen. I loved this piece, which was this author let ChatGPT analyze a decade of Apple Watch data, then called his doctor. Said ChatGPT says it can now answer personal questions about your health and fitness trackers. The new ChatGPT Help says it can help you understand patterns over time.
So what Sagar goes on to explain here is this guy had AI analyze his health data. Then the AI sort of flipped out and said, you need immediate heart attention because your heart is failing. And this guy believed it. And so he reached out to the doctor. The doctor took a look at the same data and was like, the AI has no idea what the fuck it's talking about. You're in phenomenal shape. In fact, you're in such good shape, the insurance company won't even let me run further tests on you because your data is perfect. Your data is fine. This is AI. Look, I've told stories too. Everybody has their own stories when it comes to this. But one of the ones I told is I saw a clip of Rogan. It was a clip of Rogan on a podcast. I had never seen him on that podcast before and didn't know who the guy was that he was talking to. I took the clip, I sent it to, I believe Grok I sent it to, and I said, what podcast is this and who is Joe Rogan speaking to? And they were in a spaceship or something like that in the studio that they were in. Grok says, oh, this is the Joe Rogan Experience, and he's talking to Brian Callen. And I know what Brian Callen looks like, and I know what the Joe Rogan studio looks like. It wasn't that, it's neither of those things. Neither of those things are correct. So I say, try again. That's not Brian Callen, and that's not the Joe Rogan Experience. And then it says, oh, you're right, I'm sorry. But it is the Joe Rogan Experience, and it's Brendan Schaub. I know who Brendan Schaub is. I know what he looks like. That's not Brendan Schaub. And again, it's not the Joe Rogan Experience. So I said it again. And then it hit me with oh, it's Tom Segura or some shit. It's not Tom Segura. I know what Tom Segura looks like, and I know this is not the Joe Rogan studio. So then I decided, let me search manually. So I basically go to YouTube, I believe, and I typed in Joe Rogan, and I limited the search to uploaded that week or that day or something, and then I saw the podcast. It was some podcast I'd never heard of with some other guy I'd never heard of, but I saw the names. And so then I go back to Grok, and I say, okay, the podcast is this podcast, and the host is this host. So it's not Joe Rogan. And then I said, why are you answering when you don't know? Why are you making something up? Just say you don't know. And it was oh, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. It's bro, you told me 4 times, it's this. And then when I said that's not it, you were oh, okay. What the fuck? Not only is it like a person, it's like a stupid person. It's like a dishonest, stupid person. An incompetent, dishonest, stupid person. So then the question is like, can you ever really trust it about fucking anything? Now, of course, there are times it gets some shit right. But like, I don't know about you guys. In my experience, as time has gone by, it's actually gotten worse. Like, when I first started using it, it was okay. It started out okay. Then for a little while, it got pretty good. And then it just fell off a cliff. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm noticing it get worse on a regular basis. And so now I've almost fully abandoned using it. I'll only use it in the rarest of circumstances. And then when I use it, I'll then go check the thing they said, right? And now it's in fucking operating rooms, bro. It's in operating room. Stop and think about I will never allow AI to fucking operate on me. Are you insane? I will never allow it to operate on my mom or any family member. This is crazy. It's just crazy what we're talking about here. So, good warning for all of you. If you're at the doctor and you need something done and they say, oh, we got this AI, say, fuck, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I know the lack of regulation in this country. I know the fucking AI profiteers. Everything's a scam and they don't give a fuck about your safety. They don't give a fuck about your health. It's just a fact. It's just a fact.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.